So this is my developing countries project, and I decided to go with Ukraine. And this presentation is made by me, Ivan Miguel. So Ukraine is located in Eastern Europe with a population of about 37 million people, and of those 37 million people, there is about 1 million living in poverty. Now, the core challenges that I'll be focusing on in this presentation and this research is infrastructure development and sustainable development. Moving on to the next slide, I'm going to be focusing on the economic system. So the economic system that Ukraine functions under is a mixed economic system. And what a mixed economic system focuses on is limited private freedom, centralized economic planning, and government regulation. Now the way it functions is that it uses state involvement, foreign control, and market influence in order to achieve its goals. Now what state involvement is that it's just the way the government plays in regulating, managing, or controlling various aspects of a country's economy and society. And then foreign control is just the people outside of the country that come in, such as governments, corporations, or investors, and it's their way. There's certain aspects of that country's economy, resources, or industries. And finally, what market influence refers to is the impact of market forces, such as supply, demand, competition, and consumer behavior. And that's pretty much what all three are. And so, some further research that I found while researching about Ukraine is that because of recent conflict, the Ukraine has had recovery potential inside their mixed economic system. And this is what I found. Post-war reconstruction efforts and international investments can improve its mixed economy's balance and growth potential. Now, going on to one of my core challenges, sustainable development. One of the goals Ukraine strives to achieve is no poverty. Now, what no poverty is just it's like their goal of getting everybody in their country to have no poverty, and that there is no form of poverty within the country anymore. And they have a poverty line of about $4.8 a day. And in the picture on the right side of the screen, you can see that the $4.81 a day of Ukraine is much higher than the Tanzania $1.62 a day. And what this represents is that Ukraine is considered to be one of the more richer countries, you can say. That's what it represents. Now, what are some issues of sustainable development? There's a setback because of the current war with Russia. Setbacks include loss of wheat, fossil fuels, and fossil fuel prices increase. Now, moving on to the next core challenge, infrastructure development. Ukraine's infrastructure was heavily weakened due to the Russian-Ukraine conflict prioritized post-war. Now, this affected many sectors inside of Ukraine. Their building, their transportation, and one main one was energy sector damage. It was the most affected. Now, does Ukraine have support? Well, yes, it does. U.S. aid is investing nearly $1 billion to repair and modernize its energy sectors. Now, the reason why I want to do this is that so Ukraine can transport energy throughout its country and throughout the world, so that way prices can go down around the world on energy. Now, the World Bank is also supporting it through the Peace Project, which provides donor support for urgent needs and public services in Ukraine. Now, what are opportunities for growth in Ukraine? Reconstruction growth potential opportunities in residential and non-residential building sectors post-war. That means that they're going to be building much more stuff, and it's going to be much better after the war. Now, their key growth driver is transport infrastructure and border construction. Now, moving on to the impact on globalization. Sustainable development's impact on globalization. The loss of wheat can raise a threat to countries that heavily rely on grain, such as Lebanon, Bangladesh, and the Democratic Republic. Coal prices rose by 176%. Crude oil and petroleum products increased by 52%. Natural gas prices surged by 94%. And the global household spending has increased by 2.7% to 4.8%. That's really bad. Now, the infrastructure development. Damage to Ukraine's infrastructure disrupted Russian gas pipelines to Europe, causing a global energy crisis and rising energy costs. Now, moving into my conclusion, the war has had devastating effects on the global economy, as noticed in my global impactization slide. Now, Ukraine has faced multiple struggles throughout these past 4 years just because of the war, and that's caused it to have many cons to its impact on the economy rather than pros. Now, hopefully, after the war settles down, Ukraine could be one of the key factors that brings nations together to strive to achieve a goal that they share. Now, finally, some personal insight. What I gained from this research was the ability to learn and understand new topics independently. Now, what I mean by that is that whenever I was going into my research, I was finding words that or phrases that I just didn't understand, and that I needed to go research on my own. And once I researched them on my own, I was able to imply them into the work that I was reading, and it just clicked for me. And then finally, the DVC project helped me to is the DVC project helps me can help me to be able to research not only countries but maybe companies that I don't want to work in the future, such as for my career or my career that I want to work in, like engineering. I'd be able to research an engineering firm that I want to work for or that I'd plan on working for, and I could find out like if it benefits me in any sort of way. And then that's about it for my conclusion. And here's my works cited.